Namaskar, dear friends. Welcome to my class. Today we shall discuss a significant poem written by William Wordsworth. Dear friends, the title of the poem is Tintern Abbey. Suppose someone asks you a question, who this William Wordsworth was. What will you answer? Dear friends, William Wordsworth was a highly influential English poet who contributed immensely to the Romantic movement. Together with Samuel Taylor Coleridge, he started the English Romantic movement with the publication of Preface to the Lyrical Ballads in 1798. He is called a poet of nature. That is the most significant tag that he has got. He is a poet of nature. And he is known for his fascination with the natural world. He believes nature can be restorative and nature can be a great source of inspiration. My dear friends, do you know the full title of this poem? The full title of this poem is like this: Lines composed a few miles above Tintern Abbey on revisiting the banks of the Wye during a tour July the 13th of 1798. This is the full title, and this is shortened, abridged as Tintern Abbey. What exactly this Abbey is, you must understand. This Abbey is a group of buildings housing a monastery. Housing a monastery. What is a monastery? Monastery is a place where the monks live. And who these monks are? A monk is a person who dedicates his life for the service of others or to the service of God. So he is a monk. In our religion, it's a rishi, it's a sage. So he is a monk who lives in a monastery, and Abbey is a monastery. Tintern is a place. So this Abbey was situated in a place called Tintern Abbey. Acha, what is this Y? Y is a river Y, which we find in England. So let us find out, you know, this Tintern Abbey was founded on the 9th of May 1131 by Walter D. Clare. Walter D. Clare. Now this is situated adjacent to the village of Tintern in Monmouthshire. Monmouthshire is a place. There is a village in Monmouthshire. The name of the village is Tintern, and this abbey is situated there. You know how the poet talks about the the natural surrounding. Let us find out. 5 years have passed, 5 summers, with the length of 5 long winters, and again I hear these waters rolling from their mountain springs with a soft inland murmur. He is revisiting this place. Now, what is the meaning of revisiting a place? Revisiting shows that he has already visited this place once earlier. He had come to this place 5 years earlier when he was only 23 years of age. So, obviously, he is 28 now. So, he is revisiting this place. And what he finds there? He says, 5 years have passed, 5 summers with the length of 5 long winters that make 5 years. And again I hear these waters. The water, obviously he is referring to the waters of River Wye and the waters of the mountain springs. The springs which flow down which emanate, which come down the mountain, rolling from their mountain springs. Now, when spring is a jharna, so when it is coming down, when it is rolling down, it produces a soft murmuring noise, a soft sound, a murmuring noise. So, one thing we find the mountains there, two, we find the mountain springs, we find a river, we find the noise produced by the soft noise produced by the mountain springs. These are all elements of nature, not world of nature. How the world of nature is presented here in this poem. Once again do I behold these steep and lofty cliffs. What is the meaning of steep? Steep is very high. Lofty is also very high. And what is a cliff? Steep and lofty means very high. And what is a cliff? Cliff is a high area of rock with a very steep side. So it's an area of rock which has a very steep side. The fall is not gradual. Usually, what happens when you see a mountain, the fall is gradual. Okay, so that you can climb the mountain. But there are certain mountains which cannot be climbed by anyone because the sides are very steep. There is a sudden fall. There is a sudden fall, so nobody can climb the mountains. So he finds mountains there. He finds steep and lofty cliffs there. Okay. Then that on a wild, secluded scene, this is a secluded place, a lonely place, far away from human habitation, far away from the din and bustle of the city, the noise of the city. He had chosen this secluded area far off from the human habitation, far away from the city. So he says, as I come here, as I come here, as I visit this place, what happens? This wild, secluded scene impress thoughts of more deep seclusion. So this area creates a thoughtful and reflective mood in me. So I am compelled to think, various things here and connect the landscape with the quiet of the sky. The cliffs, the high mountains, that lofty mountains that you find there, the lofty mountains connect connect the landscape with the sky. There a connection between you. From a distance you feel as if they are touching the sky. From a distance you feel as if they are touching the sky. So the poet is saying as if they are connecting the landscape with the quiet of the sky. The day is come when I again repose here. So the day, now it's another day. I have come here once again under this dark sycamore and view these plots of cottage ground. What he sees there, then he says, oh, once again I have come to this place. Once again I have repose is to take rest. Once again I have come to this place and I take rest here under this dark sycamore. What is a sycamore? Sycamore is a tree. Sycamore is a shady tree. So he says, once again I have come here and I am taking rest under this dark sycamore. And what I am able to visit? I am able to visit these plots of cottage ground, these orchard tops, which at this season with their unripe fruits are clad in one green hue and lose themselves amid groves and copses. Okay, let us find out what he says here. What different things of nature he refers to in the first stanza. He says, there is a dark sycamore. Sycamore is a tree, a shady tree under which I sit now. He says, I sit under this shady sycamore tree now, and I look around. And when he looks around, what he finds? Plots of cottage ground. Now he finds farmlands all around in the valley. Some distance away in the valley, he finds plots of cottage ground. And he also finds orchard tops. Orchard tops, obviously he finds a number of orchards, gardens there, which are trees in the orchard. He finds a number of trees in the orchard. Orchard is a place where you have a number of trees. So obviously from a distance, he finds those trees. He marks those trees. And what else does he find? Which at this season, with their unripe fruits, are clad in one green hue. Hue is a color. So this is the season when the fruits are not ripe. The fruits are raw, and therefore everything around me is covered in, everything around me is found covered in a green color, and lose themselves amid groves and copses. Now, my dear friends, what are groves? Groves are small groups of trees with no or minimal undergrowth. There would be very little grass or no grass or very little grass, but these are groups of trees at one place. And what are copses? Copses are a thicket, growth of small trees. You find, if it is a wild place, if it is a wild area, a jungle area, these are the things which you usually found because the ground is not cleaned by anyone. If you clean the ground, it will be a clean place. Only you will find the tree. But if the ground is not cleaned properly, regularly, you will find the, grass also. And once again, I see these hedgerows. What are hedgerows? Please write a rough or mixed hedge of wild shrubs or occasional trees. Hedgerows are wild shrubs or occasional trees which are found by the roadside. Hedgerows are there. So he says, I find cottage grounds, I find orchard tops, I find unripe fruits, I find a number of trees, I find groves here, I find copses, and all the hedgerows, all these are clad with a green color. Okay. And lines of sporty wood, lines and lines of trees, wild plants. These pastoral farms, pastoral means used for keeping and grazing cattle, and especially in a countryside. Countryside is a village. Okay, so pastoral farms I see, green to the very door. There is a greenery all around. The green is the dominant color, most dominant color at this place. Then what he finds? He finds wreaths of smoke sent up in silence from among the trees. Wreath is a circular, arrangement of flowers. When somebody dies, we make wreaths of flowers, a circular design of flowers, and we, that is used to pay honor, pay respect to the departed soul. So there are wreaths of smoke in a circular way, circular manner. The smoke is emanating from somewhere, from amidst the trees, and it's coming out in a circular manner. In silence from among the trees, They are coming out. The smoke is coming out. Wreaths of smoke are coming out. With some uncertain notice, as might seem, of vagrant dwellers in these houseless woods. This is a place, these woods are houseless. I mean, you don't find houses here. This is not a place which is inhabited by human beings. Usually, nobody lives in a forest. So he says, no, no. So who is producing this smoke? The smoke is being produced by some vagrant dwellers, houseless people. Vagrant dwellers are the people who are houseless and they can make a house anywhere. Okay. So, as might seem of vagrant dwellers in these houseless woods or of some hermit's cave, the smoke might be coming out from some hermit's cave. Perhaps there is a cave somewhere nearby and there lives a hermit. So he is making a holy fire. So this might be the smoke of that fire. Where by his fire the hermit sits alone. So loneliness, alone, lonely, okay, seclusion. These words show that the place is almost lonely. Not many people, this is not a crowded place. Not many people live here. Then there is an abundance of nature, plentiful nature. You know, this is the place where you find trees, where you find a mountain ranges, ranges of mountains. There are mountain springs, there is a river, there are cliffs, there are groves, there are cottage grounds in the distance. So these are the manifestations of the varied manifestations of nature. Nature found in plenty in in the first stanza of this poem. Let us go to the second stanza of this poem and find out what he talks about. These beauteous forms, through a long absence, have not been to me as is a landscape to a blind man's eye. Now, it's a beautiful landscape, but suppose you bring a blind man, ask him, what do you find all around? What will be his answer? The blind man will say, I see nothing. There is nothing around me. There is no beauty at all, as you talk about. I see nothing. So this is not the case with me. I come here after 5 years, but it's not that I have forgotten everything. This place I have visited once 5 years back. This place I have come here after 5 years, but I still remember last time when I had come here, what things I had seen. But oft in lonely rooms and amid the din of towns and cities, the poet was living in a city. So he says, in a city you find a crowded atmosphere. There is a lot of din. Din is noise. There is a lot of din and bustle. There is a lot of hustle and bustle. There is a lot of activity. There is a lot of noise in the city. A crowded atmosphere prevails there. So he says, no, no, I have spent my time in a crowded atmosphere, true, but these scenes and sights of nature that I had seen last time, they helped me a lot. How they helped me a lot? Let us find out. I have owed to them in hours of weariness, sensations sweet. What is weariness? Tiredness or fatigue. So when I felt tired, when I felt bad, when I was full of despair, hopelessness, helplessness, whether I was in a lonely room or whether I was in a crowded atmosphere, these the thought of when I thought of these scenes and sights, they provided me sensations sweet, sweet sensations. They made me feel very good. The sensations were really pleasant feelings they created in me. These scenes and sights created in me some pleasant feelings, sensations, sweet. Saw, sound, repeated alliteration. Felt in the blood and felt along the heart. So a sense of pleasure that I felt was created, passed through my blood, passed on to my heart. I really felt very good. When I thought of these, I really felt very good. And passing even into my purer mind with tranquil restoration. What is when suppose you are wounded, you take some medicines, you are unhealthy, you are ill, you are down with fever, you take some medicines so that you can restore health, you can get back health. You feel very, earlier you were feeling very weak, not very energetic, but you take some medicines, you start feeling, you take a little bit of rest, you feel energetic. So he says, whenever I was feeling very bad in the crowded atmosphere of the city, I thought of these scenes and sights of nature which I had seen 5 years back, and every time I thought of them, they filled me with pleasant feelings, sweet sensations, and they restored, they sprayed through my blood, they reached my heart, and they made me feel ecstatic, joyous, good. I felt as if they had restored me, they had cured me of my illness. Feelings, so this is the impact of nature. Nature, not only the scenes and sights of nature, not only provide beautiful sensations, beautiful feelings, pleasant feelings, they have the power to restore someone. They have the power to cure someone, curative powers, restorative powers of nature. Feelings too of unremembered pleasure, such perhaps as have no slight or trivial influence on the best portion of a good man's life, his little, nameless, unremembered acts of kindness and love. Okay, so these memories helped him to calm down, to cool down, to feel restored. And they had an impact on his actions also. When you are calm, when you are feeling restored, when you are feeling well, when you are feeling happy, you indulge in some actions, you do certain things which are beneficial for others. You take care of others, you act for the goodness of others, you are more concerned about humanity. You are not concerned about yourself only, you are more concerned about others. You are full of kindness and love for others. Nor less, I trust to them, I may have owed another gift of aspect more sublime. Now, what is sublime? Sublime is something which is extreme, unparalleled, great excellence and beauty. There was another gift that he got. The first gift was a lot of pleasure. The second gift was nature restored his, feelings, restorative power of nature. Next, he says there was a more sublime aspect. There was something greater, immense, and awe-inspiring. There was something more powerful, wonderful, precious. And what was this? The blessed mood. It created a blessed mood. Blessed is what? Blessed means more holy. It created a holier mood in me. This was the third impact of nature. Okay, so it created a blessed mood in which the burden of the mystery, in which the heavy and the very weight of all this unintelligible world is lighted. So it created a kind of blessed mood in me. What kind of a mood was that? Burden is burden. This is an old way of saying burden, where the freight and no, this world is not a very easy place to live. Problems are there, difficulties are there, worries are there. You have to face all these. And when there is a bombardment of worries, when the bombardment of troubles and problems, you feel tired at times, you feel broken down at times, worn down at times. So he says, when such a time came, when such a time came, when these difficulties came, when the problems came, this world is an unintelligible world. This world is very difficult to comprehend. It's a complex world. It's very difficult to understand the workings of this world. Okay. But however, when I thought of these sights and scenes of nature, they brought me a blessed mood, a pleasant mood, something which doesn't come to normal people. They filled me. He says, okay, he is a poet of nature. He appreciated nature. So he says, nature created in me such a blessed mood. Okay, to deal with the problems of life, to deal with the worries of life, to deal with very wet. Another example of wow sound repeated. So another example of alliteration. Okay, and that serene and blessed mood in which the affections gently lead us on until the breath of this corporeal frame and even the motion of our human blood almost suspended, and we are laid asleep in body and become a living soul. So what kind of a mood this was? A serene. What is serene? Peaceful, blessed, holy. Okay, that serene and blessed mood in which the affections gently lead us to. This is a calm and precious state of mind. Okay, where corporeal frame is our body. Our body, because it dies, because it comes to an end. This is temporary. This is transitory. Our soul is permanent, but our physical body is temporary or transitory. It lives for a certain time and then it is born to assess. So the breath is suspended. It is such a state, it is a state of trance. एमिति गोटे स्टेट एमिति गोटे अवस्था जोठी तमे व्हाट इज हैपनिंग यू आर नॉट अवेयर ऑफ व्हाट इज हैपनिंग अराउंड यू तमे गोटे यू आर ए स्टेट ऑफ ट्रांस बोली कहंती ट्रांस माने कोन माने तुम सेते जानि परिबोनी जे कोन होउची तम चारिपटे नॉइज यू आर इन ए डिफरेंट वर्ल्ड ऑफ योर ओन तमे देखिबो से जो आग काल मुनि ऋषि माने सेई भलिया गोटे बहुत मेडिटेशन कला परे से माने सेई भलिया गोटे स्टेट ऑफ ट्रांस को जेतेबेले तम चारिपटे निया जळुथुबो तमे जानि पारु नथुबो तुम चारिपटे प्रॉब्लम्स थिबो तमे जानि पारु नथुबो तुम चारिपटे डिफिकल्टीज थिबो तम चारिपटे शत्रु थिबे तुमे बट यू आर इन ए ब्लेसेड मूड यू आर इन ए हैप्पी मूड यू आर इन ए जॉयस मूड यू आर इन ए स्टेट ऑफ ट्रांस जो स्टेट रे पहुंचीबा बहुत कम लोकन भागरे जुटे So that kind of a state, the poet is talking about that kind of a state. He says, the sight of these scenes and sights, the world of nature, filled me with that kind of a state where the motion of our human blood is suspended. You know, you don't feel as if blood is moving inside your body. It is suspended. Okay. It doesn't happen. We are laid asleep in body. Physically, we are not concerned about our physical self. We become a living soul. Okay. We establish a communion with God, divinity. ଗୋଟେ ସେଇଭଳି ଗୋଟେ spiritual state. ଏଇଟା ଗୋଟେ ସେ ତାମାନେ ଦେଖ what he is really trying to tell. He is saying this more, when I came in contact with nature, it created such an impact on me that I was not concerned with this physical state of mind, this physical body of mine, the pain, the troubles, the torture, the difficulties, the worries of the physical world. They were there. They were there. Not that they had disappeared. They were there. But I was no more concerned about them. I was in a different state. I was in a blessed state. I was in a state of trance. I was living in a different world of mind. The movement of the blood inside my body as if had been suspended. They were moving no more. Blood was moving in my body no more. I was not concerned about the physical body of mine. As if I had established a communion, a contact with the Supreme Power. So this is the kind of state. While with an eye made quiet by the power of harmony and the deep power of joy, we see into the life of things. So in this state which I had attained, everything appeared calm, quiet, beautiful. You are in communion with a superior power. You are in contact with a superior power. You are deriving blessings from him. You are in touch with him. Okay. So here you are not concerned about the physical self, but a spiritual self. That is what he says. Here, he is not concerned about the spiritual body and the pain, the problem, the difficulties that it faces. He is talking about a state in which he derives a lot of spiritual joy. And when he thinks of not himself, he thinks of the entire world. Okay, so this is what he says. In the second stanza, he discusses the impact of nature on him. What was the impact of nature? Nature made him feel very delighted. It has restorative powers, and nature has spiritual powers also. How it provided him joy, and how he was away from the concerns of this physical body. Okay, so let us go to the third stanza. If this be but a vain belief, yet oh, how oft in darkness and amid the many shapes of joyless delight, when the fretful stir unprofitable, the fever of the world, have hung upon the beatings of my heart, how oft in spirit have I turned to thee? O Sylvan Vai, he is addressing the river Vai as O Sylvan Vai. So what is the meaning of Sylvan? Consisting of or associated with woods. Here is an address. This type of address is called apostrophe. As if Y is a human being and it is standing there somewhere. An address. Okay, O Sylvan Y, an apostrophe. Thou wanderer through the woods. You are moving through the woods. Wanderer through the woods. Wa, alliteration. Wanderer through the woods. You are moving through the woods, through the jungle. Moving here and there in a serpentine. Your course is a serpentine course, like a snake. Just as a snake moves like this from one side to the other, you are also moving. How often has my spirit turned to thee? So he says, when there has been darkness, darkness is symbolic of problems, difficulties. When you do not know what to do, you say, I am surrounded by darkness. So when such situations have come, and when there has been joyless delight, there is a lack of joy, lack of delight, lack of happiness. When I didn't know what to do, when I was full of despair, when I was full of hopelessness, when I felt helpless, and the fretful star unprofitable, and when the freight and fever of this world, difficulties, problems, when these surrounded me, oh river, how often I turned to you when I thought of you. And when I thought of you, I grew oblivious of the problems that I was facing. ମୁଁ ଯେତେବେଳେ ତୋ କଥା ଭାବୁଥିଲି ମୋ ମନରୁ ସବୁ ସେ ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ ଗୁଡାକ ଦୂରେଇ ଯାଉଥିଲା। ସେ ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ ଗୁଡାକ ମତେ ଆଉ ହଣ୍ଟ କରିପାରୁନଥିଲା। HAUNT ମାଇ ମେମୋରି। ସେ ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ ଗୁଡାକ ମତେ ଆଉ ଏତେ ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ ବୋଲି ଲାଗୁନଥିଲା। ସେତେବେଳେ the moment I thought of you, I was transported into a blessed state, a state of greater joy, a state of communion, spiritual communion, a state of spiritual communication. Oh Silvan Vai, oh Vai, oh river, apostrophe, thou wanderer through the woods, how often my spirit has turned to thee. How many times I thought of you, how many times I came to you, how you provided me that sense of relief, that sense of joy, that sense of delight. So this is what he says, how he has turned to nature, how the poet has turned to nature whenever he faced some trouble, whenever he was in a state of despair, whenever he was in a state of helplessness, hopelessness, despair, he turned to the world of nature, and nature provided him that sense of joy. And it helped him forget the problems, the troubles, the tortures. Thank you very much. We shall go to the second part in another video. Thank you.